Welcome to Bourbon with the Editor, a manufacturing podcast for cutting tool engineering's 100,000 plus audience of metal cutting professionals. I'm Dennis Spaeth, the publisher, editor, and owner of Cutting Tool Engineering, which is located in Arlington Heights, Illinois. For full disclosure, this podcast is being presented in a webinar format to best conduct an interview with today's guest, who is joining us from his home in Rakafet, Israel, a small city in northern Israel. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Today we're going to be... Yeah,
pronounce it fine.
Okay. Today we're going to be talking about machiningdoctor.com, a website launched in November 2020 by Aries Spicer, a mechanical engineer with more than 30 years in the industry. Erez, who spent much of his machining career working at ISCAR headquarters, developed the machiningdoctor.com website out of boredom during the COVID-19 pandemic. As the website has grown, it now has 27 machining-related calculators and about 250,000 page views per month. He decided to make his online endeavor a full-time job as of March 2023. The website contains a wealth of information that is well organized and bound to be of interest to professional machinists. The calculators offered range from simple conversion tools to a more complex speeds and feeds calculator that provides cutting condition recommendations based on dozens of parameters that Aris developed himself and included in the calculator. We will show you a list of calculators later on. In fact, what I'll do, I'll share the screen now to show you his website if you haven't seen it yet.
Yep.
All right, so machiningdoctor.com. As you can see, there's all sorts of information on here, and if you go to the calculators, here is just a quick scroll through the page of calculators. So there's quite a range of calculators and converters that Eris has created here. And we're going to ask Eris to share his screen later in just a minute. But what I want to do is ask Eris to demonstrate one of the calculators. But before that, I want to just explain that about a month ago, Eris and I chatted on the phone for the first time, and we talked about how we might collaborate. In return for writing some articles for us, CTE is going to share links from certain articles on our website, archived articles, that are related to calculators that he's developed. And one of those articles is called, I think, Milling Mastery, and it was written several years ago by Edmund Isakoff, who's a well-known author and machining consultant. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and see if you could. I know I'm skipping a question here, but if you could take us through the demonstration of the calculator that you think complements that article, just to show our audience what we'll be doing and what this all would look like and how this will help people to absorb the information that's available online.
Okay, so I will share my screen also now. Okay, so this is the article by Isakoff, which I went briefly over, and this goes, it's a long and deep article about many topics in milling, but here is the first example I wanted to show. The author is going into what is called the chip thinning, which is a very famous thing in milling that enables us to increase by a lot the feed when the radial depth of cut is getting smaller. And here is an explanation, and here is the formula of to calculate the improvement in the feed. And here I will show you. This is the machining doctor calculator about chip thinning, which just does exactly that. So, for example, if we have a 2-inch cutter and the radial depth of cut is half an inch, we can increase, the calculator tells us we can increase the feed rate by 20% and maintain the original chip load we intended to have. And if we change that, for example, to 0.1 of an inch, now we can multiply by 2.3 the feed rate and still maintain the original chip load that we started with in the, let's say, in the decent depths of cut. So the chip thinning enables to make much higher feed rates when the radial depth is really slow. This is what the author is explaining here, exactly how it works, how this formula was done. And with the calculator, we can get immediate answer. Here there is another calculator about chip thinning, but in this case, I'm not sure it was mentioned in the article, this is axial chip thinning. The formula before was for radial chip thinning. And here also, according to the axial depths we go, and the geometry of the cutting tool, we can get the chip thinning factor that we can deploy when changing the axial depth of cut. So this was the first related calculator to this article. Another related calculator, go a little bit in the beginning, and here the article explains about a topic that is called where is it? Sorry, just a second. Dynamic stability. Okay, dynamic stability means that we need a minimum two teeth in the material to get decent dynamic stability. Otherwise, there is a big tendency for vibrations. But this is only, let's say, the very basic. Here in the article, there is a deep explanation how, depending on the number of teeth and the engagement angle and the depth of cut, we can fine-tune the conditions to get an optimal dynamic stability, and as a result get less vibration and either increase the cutting conditions or get a better tool life. And on the machining doctor, there's a calculator that does exactly that. Here, for example, we have in the calculator, we put that we have an end mill with diameter of half an inch, with four flutes, and helix angle of 45 degrees. And what the calculator tells us is that if we choose AP, the axial depths of 0.39, 0.78, or 1.17 inches, we will have a near perfect dynamic stability. So with this information, what a machinist can do, he will try to program either 0.39, 0.78, or 1.17, and then he will get much better results. And if we change the number of teeth or the helix angle, we get the relevant depths for that specific situation. There is another calculator which just does the opposite. Here we tell the calculator that we have a cutter with half an inch diameter and with 4 teeth, and this will give us the optimal helix angle for this situation. So, for example, if we look at We want to go into a depth, onto diameter of 1 inch with, we need a helix angle of 57 degrees. It's using the same formula in the reverse. So it's another nice example how the calculators help us to take complicated theory and deploy it very fast, very easy, with accurate results, combine the theory with the practical calculators of the machining doctor. And this is just two examples of dozens of examples that we can go into in a maybe later episode.
Sure. So I would like to go back a question. You know, we didn't really cover the motivation for you creating this website to begin with, and it is an interesting path that you took to get here. So, could you share with everyone what was the motivation for creating the website, and then talk a little bit about how it's grown and how it's doing now, and your decision to make this your full-time job.
Okay, so it's the story starts about, I think, in 2018, and in 2018 my hobby, except for working as an engineer, is that I like to do a lot of things outdoors, and one of them is hiking. I hike a lot in my home country and also abroad. And in 2018, I got this strange idea to create a website about hiking in Israel, to help out tourists that come to my country and want to do hiking. I started to create an online resource with maps, with trails that will help them put together a hike. And this was a pure hobby. When I started it, I didn't know anything about building websites. So it was learning and doing some things I like. And I was quite surprised that it started to succeed. People were coming in, it gained traffic, it also started to generate some income. And it was a fun thing to do parallel to my work. And then in 2020, we all got a big surprise in our face called the COVID pandemic. And when this pandemic started, naturally this website went to zero because nobody was traveling abroad and the traffic just went to zero. And okay, it wasn't my main concern at the time. There was a lot of trouble for everybody with the pandemic. And we had a lot of lockdowns. And also in the beginning, after the lockdowns, we worked 4 days only at work. And frankly saying, there was not too much work to do because all the world was really slow, business-wise. And I had a lot of time on my hands. And I said, okay, I built the website and this website now crashed. And I have no idea if this pandemic is going to stay for 1 year or 10 years. Nobody knew. So I said, okay, now I have time. I have this new knowledge of creating website. Let's do something new. And I was searching with myself for an idea, what would be a nice topic for a new website. And I said, okay, the thing I know most probably is what I do every day for 20 plus years, and that's machining. So let's try to make a website about machining. So the motivation was to do something with my time at the very beginning, and this was like in 2020, the beginning of the pandemics, few months after the beginning. I started to design the layout of the website and did the first section, which was about G-code. If you look on the website, one of the things on the menu is G-code, and this was actually the first thing I put online. And at the beginning, I didn't have very big plans. I had no idea about the demand. I didn't have a big expectation. I didn't have a business plan. It was just, doing something.
Erez,
Yes.
I was just wondering the G code that you posted that to the site. The site was live at that point,
Yeah, the site was live.
and how was that initial offering? How was that initial information received? What was the
For
feedback that you
me,
had
first
from
of all,
it?
for me, received or not received is how many clicks I get from search engines because I have no other source of traffic. I mean, I didn't have any base of followers. I didn't have money to pay for traffic, so it was waiting for Google to pick up the pages and give some traffic. And Google is a slow animal. I know that from my previous website. It takes time for a new website to get recognition, even if it's really good. But what I started to see that the numbers were picking up faster than I expected. Like in the beginning, 1,000 clicks a month was really encouraging for me. Then 2,000, 5,000. The growth in the beginning was multiplied, every month. I don't remember exactly the stats and I didn't stop. I mean, the first thing was G code, and I think after that I went into the carbide grades. I think it was the second topic. I'm not 100% sure. And ongoing all the time, I added something else, and the traffic was growing really fast, and that I would say gave me the motivation. When I saw that Google recognized this as valuable, it meant to me that it's valuable for the users because Google is not stupid. If people are clicking out and not staying on the website doesn't grow. And from the growth, I understood that people are interested. And when I saw this growing every month more and more, I really got a lot of motivation and I worked evenings and weekends because at that time things went back to normal at work. So I didn't have so much free time. I was a product manager in ISCA of the turning lines and grooving lines. So I had a lot to do, but an hour here or there in the weekend a day, I continue gradually to work on the website. And as I saw that the traffic is reaching, let's say more than 100,000 page views a month, like really big numbers, I understood that, yeah, this is something worth focusing on. And it took some time, to take this step because it's not an easy step. For me, it was not easy. And I said, yeah, I will give it a real shot. Exactly 1 year ago, I quit the job, and from then on, I'm doing only this. And first of all, I really enjoy it. I feel that I'm doing something that also helps people, and I see the clicks growing all the time.
What kind of
Uh,
feedback do you get? Are you in communication with any of your audience?
Actually, very little. Like, I mean, I have a contact form. Anybody can contact me, and I get questions from people, but it's average maybe 2 times a week, not more. Like the engagement with the user, it's the fact that I see that they are coming in, they're spending a lot of time, but it's very anonymous. So I mean, I would enjoy getting more feedback, but people, I guess, just they when we search in the internet, I know it for myself. I think it's most people. We want to answer a question or solve a problem that we have. We want to know what is the cutting speed for material 4340. So we type in at Google, we get the answer, and we continue with our lives. So most people don't interact. Uh, so that's what's happening.
So can you let's delve into your background, your professional background. I mean, I covered it really briefly. You worked at ISCAR and you've been in this industry working as an engineer for 30 years. But you want to share with everyone where you got your degree and in mechanical engineering. But start from there and let us know because I know you worked at a shop as well.
Yeah, okay. So I graduated mechanical engineering, I think in 2003, 2002, 2000. No, sorry, 1993. 1993. And my first job was at ISCAR. I was a young engineer out of school. I studied at the Technion in Haifa in Israel. And when I started in ISCAR, I was an engineer in one of the production facilities. The job of an engineer in the production facility is to support the production. It means to write CNC programs, to design measuring instruments, to implement new products into the production line, help to how to work with new machines that are coming into the production, all this type of stuff. And I did that for several years. And after doing that for several years, I got a promotion and I became the manager of that department. So I was in charge of something like 4 engineers, and the team, that was the task of the team, to give this support. And this went on for several few years, and this gave me a lot of experience with how the tools are made, both the cutting tools from the steel, machining them from steel, and also the production of the inserts, the pressing, the sintering, the coating, the grinding, all these processes how to make inserts. I was also involved a lot in the engineering of that segment of production. So this gave me a lot of experience how to build the tools. At that time, I didn't have a lot of knowledge in how to use the tools. Yes, so it's a different thing. And then after 7-8 years of doing that, I decided I need a change. It was a lot of time in the same place, and I went to work for a Swiss cut machine shop. That, let's say, I would say medium size. We had something like probably 30-40 Tornos machines, different kind, but mostly Tornos.
Was that near where you live now?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably 45 minutes. It was near Haifa. Yeah, it's the same area. Also, Iskar is not far from where I live. And I was, my title there was operations manager. I was in charge of getting raw material, planning, production planning, inventory, shipment, stuff like that, more logistic work. But it gave me also a lot of knowledge into the miniature industry and Swiss machining, because it's not a big place, so like everybody has to know everything. You spend also a lot of time on the production floor when there are problems, understand what's happening. So I got a lot of knowledge also on this, something that was new for me, the really tiny parts, and I really like this. Until today, this is my favorite segment in machining, the really small parts. It's always amazing me how small you can get and have so many details on the part. It's really a fascinating world. And then after, also I worked there probably 7-8 years. And at that time, I wanted to make a change in my career, and I wanted to go into marketing. And I was looking for the next stage in my career in marketing. And I also contacted people I knew in ISCAR, and I told them, okay, maybe you're interested that I go back to ISCAR, but if I go back, I want to work in the marketing department. And they were happy with this approach. So I was surprised pretty quickly. We reached a mutual agreement and I was starting to be the product manager for the grooving lines. And later after that also for the turning lines, and I did this for about 10 years until we are where we are at now. Okay. So what this 10 years gave me, it gave me the experience and the knowledge of how to use the tools that in the past I learned how to manufacture them. So I think all of this together gives me like a pretty wide angle about cutting tools and everything around them.
What you're doing with your website is from my perspective is you're sharing the knowledge that you've gained over your career with whoever is interested in going to your website and taking advantage of it. I mean, is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Exactly what's happening, and
Now, did you see a
I,
lot
I,
of this anywhere else on the internet? Because I
I
think
mean,
that
not
was
a
one of
lot.
your
Like,
motivating factors.
I didn't invent the wheel. So, like every specific topic, if you take it and search for it, you will find other places giving more or less the same information. Maybe not everywhere is a calculator. I probably have the most range of calculators, but let's say you can get this knowledge also elsewhere. The only thing that I feel that I'm unique. I didn't see anything like this. Maybe it exists, but I didn't see it. But at least personally, I don't know, is a place where everything is together. One thing, and also I think organized in an easy way for someone from the industry to come in and find what he needs. And I believe I managed to do it because I came from there. I was on the other side, one of the people looking for the information. So when I came to the position of providing the information, I I did it in a way that I thought would help someone in my previous life. And I think this is where the machining doctor advantage comes in. That it's easy to manage and it has not everything because everything is impossible, but a lot of things under one roof. So
Sure.
this is, I would say, my strongest point. And also, I have to say, from a personal point of view, that this also got me learning a lot of topics and getting deeper in topics that I already knew to get much deeper, because one of the things also that I'm proud of, what maybe makes the website good, is that I don't publish or put anything live if I'm not 100% sure I covered it really well and I understood well, and I write only things that I'm 100% sure that have the base. So in some cases, I went much deeper than I knew before. I read articles, I tried formulas. I wanted to make sure that I know how they work. And only when I was really into the topic, I wrote it and put it up. So also, I feel that personally, professionally, let's say, I really grew with the website, and I know topics that I didn't know almost anything before I started, just very briefly, and also things that I thought that I knew, I now know much deeper. So
Yeah.
I feel that it made me do a lot of self learning.
Well, it's basically to me it's a incredible story that you turned the slow period during the COVID into a basically a whole new career for yourself. Uh, I'm want to go back and just ask a question about how the order that you rolled out some of your calculators. What did you have a game plan at all, or did you just kind of as it came to you, you decided, oh, I'm going to do this one next?
Well, let's say when I began, as I said before, I didn't have a game plan.
Yeah.
I started with G code because it was relatively easy. And also I did some what we call in the industry not keyboard, sorry, keyword research. It's a process in building website where there are certain online tools that give you the search volume for certain terms. So you
Oh,
try to see what people are searching, because there is no point to build a website on something that is not searched. The problem that I found later, that these tools are very inaccurate. I mean, they are not totally inaccurate. They give you some direction, but they can be also very wrong. So from these tools, I got like several cluster of topics that I thought would be good, and I started with G code. And then I started to do simple calculators. The first calculator I did was a hardness conversion calculator, where it converts from HRB to HRC to HV. You know, Vickers, Brinell, Rockwell. That's like, it's something really simple. I'm not 100% sure what was the second, but anyway, I found out pretty quickly that this is bringing much more traffic than anything else. People for some reason really like the calculators. They were maybe at the time, maybe I don't know, 2, 3, 4 calculators, and they were bringing 80% of the traffic. And this you could not see from the keyword research. This was real life. So I understood, okay, I have to find more calculators if I want to grow the traffic. And at that point, I started to make a game plan about calculators. I built for myself an Excel. You know, I'm trying to. We did not prepare this, but I'm trying to think what I did 3 years ago. So I had this Excel sheet with a list of calculators, and I gave the priority for myself, what is better to do first and second, etc. And I did it according to 2 criteria. One, how simple or complicated it is, because some of them you can write in a day, and some of them is several months of work. And on the other hand, what's the potential for the traffic? So with these two, I gave some kind of priorities and started to build calculator after calculator. So this was one topic that I discovered that brings a lot of traffic. And the second topic I discovered also accidentally, I discovered that brings a lot of traffic is anything related to threading. I did a few things about threading. And like the calculator, I started to see that people are going in. I mean, more than I would expect, much more than I would expect. So this is also a topic that from the traffic, the traffic is the best teacher for me. You know, you never know 100%. You do something, and half a year later, you see if it really succeeds or not. I also had the opposite, where I thought something is going to be really big, I invested a lot of time, and in the end, you know, the traffic is so and so. But when I see that something is working, I try to double down on it. Like I understand, okay, this topic has big interest, and then okay, it's worthwhile to create a cluster around it. You know, if threading is working nice, then okay, I went into Acme, into pipe threads, into different kind of things to give all the most that it's needed to cover.
Yeah, well rounded. You know, just I think people who are going to be hearing this are going to realize, how much thought and detail you go into in everything that you're doing with this website. Um, you got into this after you started another website, so it wasn't like you weren't somewhat aware of how to develop a website. So I'm gonna go back to your hiking tourist site for a second. Israel by foot, is that it?
Yeah, yeah.
So how many? I mean, that helped you prepare for this, the machining doctor, did
Yeah, I mean, if I haven't started that, we would probably not be talking now. So first of all, yes, and it helped a lot. Yeah, because when I started this, I knew the basics. I knew how the platforms work. I knew more or less how Google works, how you can check what's working, not working. I had this skill set already in decent level. But the website about machining is far more complex, from the technical point of view, because the hiking website is, I would say, maybe more or less like a blog. All you need to do is write things and find good pictures and build a menu and everything, and that's enough. And when I in this website, to make it let's say, more attractive, I had to go, for example, into the calculators. And this is a completely higher level because you need to program them. And also, I have a lot of tables and charts. So I had to learn how to do this. Like all the tables on the website, if you go into them, it's very easy to search and filter. Stuff like that. So every time I had to learn a lot of new skills to go from that website to the machining doctor. But for sure, this was like the foundations were there.
You're still
And
you
also
still
it's a
have
very
your other
different.
websites, right?
Also, it's a very different business model. In the hiking website, the traffic is low. There is not a lot of traffic because it's a very small niche. But when I have a customer can be worth several thousands of dollars because he's ordering a tour and I have to organize for him a lot of stuff. So I would have maybe 2 or 3 customers a month, but each one was a big customer. And the machining
Let's
doctor is opposite. Here,
yeah.
I earn from ads only, and the ad pays a few cents per view, something like that. But when you have hundreds of thousands of views, it accumulates to something you can make a living from. So it's also technically different, but also the way that to generate income is completely different.
Sure. Yeah, and just to clarify, your Israel by Foot, that website, you help people organize a trip to Israel and go hiking, and that's based on your particular interest in hiking yourself. You're kind of an outdoorsman, is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Are those photos behind you from your own experiences?
Um, I mean, one of them is surfing, so it's outdoors, but not nothing to do about hiking. And the other one is a painting my dad made, but it's I don't know exactly from where it is. Somewhere in Europe. It's not related to my hiking. Just to put
Okay.
his painting on my wall.
So the ads you had mentioned just a minute ago, it's helping you to make a living now off Machining Doctor. Um, you do have another option for people. Can you talk about why you offered this a view of the website without ads?
For 2 reasons. The first one is because from time to time, you asked before if people interact. So yes, I told you maybe 2 times a week people interact, and out of these 2 times, not a huge amount, but more than once and twice, the interaction was, okay, I like your website, but you're driving me crazy with your ads. Why there are so many ads on your website? And I thought it's a little bit rude because if you get something from free, you must understand that it's a lot of work and something has to pay the bills. But
Right.
we all of us, I think, are somehow expecting everything in the internet to be for free. But also we don't want the ads. So that got me thinking, okay, I mean, why not? I can create this subscription option which someone pays something and doesn't see the ads. And also, I thought that it's a good way to also diversify the income stream, to have income from also another, not the ads, something else.
Right.
Frankly speaking, it's pretty disappointing. I mean, I thought more people would be willing to pay $1.50 per month to get rid of the ads. But as much as they're annoyed by the ads, they don't want to take the $1.50 out of the pocket. So I have every week people signing in, a few people a week, maybe I don't know, 2, 3. So I have over 100 people signed in, but I can see clearly there is no chance that this will be the major income of the website. But still, I think it's also really a good option, even from the psychological point of view. Okay, you are
Sure.
complaining, no problem. You have the option. Now it's your choice to see the ads or don't not see the ads, and you cannot blame me that you are seeing them. So I think also in that respect, it's important to have, and it's not a big effort to do it.
Right.
So
So the other thing I want to make sure people are aware, you are the company. You are the sole person doing all of this. There's you. Do you have anyone anywhere who helps you with any aspect of the calculators or getting the website out there?
Now, with the calculator, everything 100% I made. Uh, Now that I'm growing more and I have also some income, I would consider outsourcing. I'm not against that. Like in the beginning, it was pure hobby, then, small income. So I was not even thinking about outsourcing anything. I thought, okay, whatever I do in my own pace, that's okay. But now I don't have something concrete, but it's certainly an option because it can help to scale. The only thing I did outsource is that the website is, as of January, 2 months ago, the website is not only in English, it's now in four languages: English, German, Portuguese, and Spanish. And I hired professional translators to do the translating. So this, let's say, the only time I spent, let's say, big money investing in outsourcing work. I couldn't do it all myself because I don't speak those languages. So I
Okay.
took a guy from Germany and a guy from Brazil who did both the Spanish and the Portuguese.
Okay.
And this I made this step because before that, 90% of the traffic was from English speaking countries, like mostly USA, and then after that, Canada, UK, Australia, and New Zealand, and all the other countries, even really heavily industrialized countries like Germany, were less than 1% of the traffic. So I understood that if I want to reach audience in those countries, I should go invest also in translating. So now I don't know yet the results. It's really new. You can't know anything after 1 2 months, but it's interesting to see how it will play out.
Yeah, and you'll probably need a whole year at least to see it, what the
Yeah,
seasonal traffic pattern
yeah.
might
I mean,
be.
it started to pick up. I see traffic coming in, but I knew that it's between 6 and 12 months to get a real picture. But I don't see a reason why not,
Mhm.
because in these languages there are millions of people in this industry also, and there is no reason that it will not be do the same also in other languages. So
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking with me today. This is a new podcast that we're starting at Cutting Tool Engineering. Uh, Bourbon with the editor. Yeah, it is one of my brainchilds here, but not drinking any bourbon today because it was 11 a.m. when we started this.
yeah, but I see the battles behind you,
Yes.
waiting for next time.
Yeah. Well, later on this March, we're going to be uh, doing our real live podcast, the first one with a company called Vargas, which you're probably aware of. And you know, we will be live here and with one guest who will be talking from their their shop. But I want to just thank you, and I want to encourage everyone to, if they haven't seen machiningdoctor.com, you really do want to check it out. And would you say this? It's a website that would be not just for experienced machinists, but maybe machinists who are newer to the industry. In fact, maybe even more important for them. Would you
Yeah,
say?
I think it's. I mean, it can be useful for anybody. I also use it sometimes myself when I don't remember something. But I think for sure for someone starting out his journey into machining, it's going to be 10 times more useful for him, for sure.
Right. So, I mean, I really would encourage everyone to go check it out and keep it in the back of your minds when you're onboarding someone, because this is the kind of information sharing that the industry needs, which I believe in training, and this could be a helpful training tool, or to help out with an actual challenge that someone is facing on the shop floor. So again, thank you. Now, I'm saying I hope I've been pronouncing your name right, but it's Aries is and last
Erez.
name Spicer.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, Erez
uh,
Spicer.
and northern Israel. Right now, it's probably getting close to 8 o'clock your time.
Yeah, quarter to eight.
Okay. Well, again, I appreciate it. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I mean, I want to thank you big time for giving me the opportunity to speak and for this connection. I mean, cutting tool engineering is something I know from the beginning of my steps. It's like one of the most reputable sources in the industry, for sure. So, a few years ago, if you asked me if I would, appear as a guest and get publicity on cutting tool engineering, I wouldn't say it would probably happen. It would seem unreal. So yeah, I'm really honored and thankful for this opportunity. It's for me one of the most, let's say, important stages that I can speak about myself. So it says a lot also about my work that you find it worthwhile to share. So yeah, it's I'm really happy that for appearing on this podcast.
And just to let everyone know, down the road, we'll about 4 articles a year. You've agreed to share with us that would play into some of the calculators, and I'm looking forward to doing that. We haven't really nailed down the schedule yet, but I look forward to that because I want to support what you're doing because I think sharing information like that is really important.
Okay, I'll be happy to do it together.
All right, thanks so much. I appreciate all your time. You have a good rest of your evening. And,
You too.
maybe the
Thanks a
next
lot.
time
And
maybe the next time you're in the Chicago area, whatever that is, we can do an in-person one and
yeah,
share a
I
little
give you
bourbon.
100% promise that when I'm in Chicago area, I will give you a call. I can't give any promises when, but if I'll, and you are welcome to visit Israel. You can Vargus headquarters is 30 minutes drive from where I'm sitting now,
Correct.
and
Yes.
Iska headquarters the same. And I'm sure they will be happy to host you and show you around, and then I can meet you there or meet
Yeah,
you
that's
for
a great
glass of
idea. That
bourbon
is a
in the
great
bar.
idea.
I'm sure you will have fun and learn a lot about another place in the world. So you
Maybe we
are
can go
invited.
hiking. Yeah.
Also hiking, yeah. If you like hiking, that's on me.
All right. All right. Well, you take care. You
You
have a good
too.
rest of the evening.
Okay. Bye
I, I'm
bye.
gonna I'm just gonna close it down and just let people know you'll the link is really simple. It's machiningdoctor.com, but
Yeah.
we'll
Or
share
you
the
just
link in the
go on Google and type machining doctor. That's the easiest way to remember.
yeah, that's it. So thanks
Yeah.
so much. I'm gonna wrap this up and close out for our first bourbon with the editor without the bourbon.